All right, I'm excited. This morning we have a treat. We'll be hearing from missionaries Wezel and Deise. I'm pronouncing that right, am I? Okay. And they'll be sharing about Word of Grace Mission. He's got a video for introduction. I'll just let it say what it says, and then I'll hand the microphone off to you. Hopefully this will play. pass the microphone. Welcome. Is there anything else you want to show? Or should
Any disposition? Okay.
Yeah, that should be good. Go ahead.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It is always an emotional moment for me when I share to you this video, because these 4 minutes in this video I can remember many moments in my life. Remember moments we can feel the goodness of God, because offering to us, giving to us so big opportunities I couldn't imagine. Always the emotion is always the same. And another thing I can first say is thank you, because I feel so warm welcome, and especially the beloved family, Kate and Kat and Kate, because they give us opportunity to stay with him today. And this is, for me, is so important when people can give to us a place to stay, accommodation, because this make possible our big trip United States, 5 months. You can imagine 5 months without place to stay, paying hotel is impossible. So it's so important when people can offer to us place to stay. We're so thankful because this. Thank you, thank you. And something, this month is the second time in the United States. In 2023 was the first time, and this time I came here in another part of the year, face the winter here. So because of this, we decided focus on the southern part of the United States. Do you know about it? Because the weather is different, especially in the place we live in Brazil. For us, especially in our city, our state, is something difficult comprehension. Walking around all day and many days in the fridge temperature, but it's beyond our comprehension. Walking around in the freezer temperature, it's happened, especially in New York when I spent 1 week. And well, it's a challenge for us. Our winter in our winter temperature in Brazil in the month of July, no more than 1 week in July, is the 45. This is our winter. Very, very different. Yes. So when I came here in the pulpit, all the time I prayed to Lord to show me what kind of the words I can tell to you, what kind of the words make encourage you or bless each other. And I'd like to start talking about 2 turning points in my life. The very important, the very first turning point, I think all of us agree, is when it came to the Lord. And I have the privilege to came to the Lord at the age of 9 years old in the context of the Methodist Church. And I remember very well, even with 9 years old, very clear, the teacher explained to us, 10 kids, I remember this, about 10 kids, and the method at that time was flannelograph board. Probably you know about this, something glue fabric to fabric, and the teacher put in the flannelograph board figures from the cross, and then the figure of the Jesus, and then the figure of the blood, of a drop of the blood. And I remember she said to us, "Can you see this blood, the big drop? It's non-proportional. The proposal is make a big drop of blood to communicate to us, children, kids, the idea of this from this blood is for clean something. And she said, all of you, there are dirt in our heart, in our life, and this blood is to clean our dirty. Our dirty, the name is sin. And so early in my life, I could understand our position in Adam, and then our position in Christ. This is amazing. How is possible, even kids, understand the very message of the cross? Because of this, I would like to encourage you on every opportunity, even sometimes some minutes. Don't lose the opportunity to share the very message of the cross. We love to teach people about these distinctions, theology. We love to do this. But theology and dispensations don't lead people to the heaven. What leads people to the heaven is understand, accept the message of the cross. Understand who you are in Adam and then who you are in Christ. So I encourage you, don't lose opportunity to share this very message of the cross. Because of this, people can go to the heaven. This is the most important thing. And our life is made of many turning points. Some people more, some people less, but everyone has turning points in life. I can talk about the second in terms of importance for me, the moment when I understood the distinctive message from Apostle Paul. When I understood the distinctive gospel, the gospel of the kingdom and the gospel of the grace of God. In many years, I was concerning about Bible, and in 1994 I had the opportunity to go to a seminary, a part-time seminary, not full-time. And my context, I grew up in the Methodist Church, but I cannot have opportunity to understand, to study a lot in the Methodist Church, because when I was 16 years old, I was some trouble increases, and I left the church because I was frustrated. People changing the church. I have a teacher in my class, a good teacher, and he left the church, and I lose interest. And start some moments in my life, I was start to far from the church, far from the Bible, and far from God. I was far from God, but God never was far from me. This is good to remember. And some years after, at the age of the 30 years old, I came back to the church, and things happened very fast. And this years, since I was 16 years old to 30 years old, I decided about my profession. The decision was I want to be a pilot, and I was training a lot, and I became a pilot. I checked my license to be a professional, license to fly multi-engine airplanes, license to fly commercial airplanes, and license to fly in bad weather conditions, instrument flights. Well, this is so complicated. This profession is so complicated to find a place under the sun. This is difficult in Brazil, and I have only one opportunity because only 230 hours flight. The very next moment when I was checked, I had to find a job, but doesn't work. I spent 1 year trying to find a job. And 1 year after my check, I couldn't recheck my license because no practicing, only 200 hours flight, no practicing, you lose skills. And that moment I had to pay again many hours, twin engine airplane. It was impossible to afford this. And this opportunity was gone. And another opportunity appears in my life to be a bush pilot. Flying at small airplanes over the jungle in Brazil. to provide transportation for missionaries. And that time, to be a bus pilot, it was necessary many skills at the same time. To be a good pilot, obviously, to be a good mechanic, and if possible, good preacher. We have to make a seminary, but I was not a good mechanic. This is some problem for me. I remember this morning talking about motivation, encouragement. In some way, I was not encouragement. I was not receiving encouragement in terms of to be a handyman. My dad done all of he could do for me, but he expected from me much more, and in short time. My dad is a very good handyman, and he expected from me immediately the same skills he had. So I was received from my dad more criticism about, we cannot do this, you cannot do that. But this is the way he's thinking. He did all of have in my life. My dad gave to me in terms of perspective of the life. But in some moments he expected from me much more than I could give in that moment. So I could be a good mechanic. And this project was gone too. And many years after, I was starting to become in bondage with profession. When the moment of fill out application, when appears the word, what's your profession? I was increases in trauma, because at that time I start to lose my identity. I not lose, but I forgot my identity in Christ and put my identity in my profession, the lost profession. Terrible moments in my life, until one day we met Paul Krismeyer, our boss, the president of the mission, and this is another turning point in life. I choose two: the moment I came to the Lord, and the moment I understand the mission, the distinction of mission. But the moment when Paul came into our life, I and Deise, I received so encouragement words that I've never received before. So it was possible from that time to grow in understanding, and to make short a long story, Paul bring me to this position. I couldn't imagine such thing like this in front of you. Even in Portuguese, I couldn't imagine to be in a pulpit. I can imagine in English to be in a pulpit. When I was in the conference in 2023, a big conference, summer conference, one day before, I was to the gas station, put gasoline in the tank, and I asked to the cashier, I would like $20 in pump number 4. And he said, say what? Can imagine, one day before the conference, if I cannot even ask for gasoline to put in my tank, let alone to talk to people from the pulpit. Can imagine the big situation. Well, but it was possible, and I learned since that time dependence on God, dependence on God to speak English, because I could translate books since I'm translating books since 2016. But translating books is completely different to talk to you, to speak fluently. And I've never made a decision to speak English because I was ashamed to make mistakes. So in one day, Paul said to me, you have to speak English, you must to go to the United States to share your testimony, and you not only must do this, but you can do this. Do you know the difference of the words? You can do this. And I think Paul was right, because even the first time in 2023, after airplane landing in Lex airport in Los Angeles, and I was walking to the airport, and even that moment I couldn't imagine speaking English, only 2 years ago. But God gave me the opportunity to be with you, speaking English, and share the testimony. This is amazing how the goodness of God providing us conditions to speak English, places to stay, but I would like to talk something more about the moment when I understood the message. This is a very interesting moment. I have a friend, a pilot, and he was waiting for the flight to come back to his base. He was in Recife, a city of Brazil, in the northeast part of Brazil. And from the window of the hotel, he saw a church. And he was a believer many years, and he was missing attend a service, and he decided go to the church on Sunday. And when he entered the church, he started to listen to the message. And in the middle of the message, my friend stopped the message, asking to the pastor, "Hey, pastor, I know every verses you are talking to, but for me, I read the Bible more than 50 times. I know everything about these verses, but something for me is difficult. There are apparent contradiction between what Apostle Paul says, and John, and Jesus, the 12, and John the Baptist. I don't know why this happened, but I prefer stand on Jesus." Can you imagine a declaration like this in the middle of the service? And the pastor, his name is Douglas Lefevers, a missionary from TCM in Brazil, and the pastor now is retired. But that time the pastor said to my friend, "Hey Marco, we cannot now." That was the second time when my friend go to the church, and pastor knew his name, and pastor said, "Marco, just a minute. I cannot stop my message right now, but I ask you, don't forget your question. And after the service, we're going to the restaurant, and I will explain to you something you don't understand yet. But don't forget your question." And after the service, they went to a restaurant, and the pastor explained to my friend about the distinctive message. At the first moment, my friend don't understand very well, and at the end of the conversation, the pastor gives to my friend a book, Cornelius Stand book. The title was Paul, His Apostleship and Message. And when my friend came back to his house, the air companies have an agreement to offer to pilots in any company a ticket to come back to their houses. And my friend lost the flight, and he had to go to house by bus, 9 hours in bus, instead 1 hour in airplane. And nothing to do during the day, he cannot sleep, and he decided to read a book, the book. This book, Paul, His Apostleship and Message. And he said to me, at the end of the trip, I was feeling a pain, very strong pain in my chest, but not because some health issue, some health problem, but because the emotion to understand the Bible properly. My friend had many questions, and after he finished the book, all his questions came down, because he understood in correct perspective the Bible. And my friend started to explain to me the distinctive message, and I started to explain to him the dispensations, because at the seminary at that time, in 1994, I had to put my puzzles in the air, and I start to set my puzzle, theological puzzles, and I accepted the distinction, I accept the dispensations, but that time the perspective of the seminary was Acts 2 dispensationalism. Okay, they understand dispensations, they understand the progressive revelation, the literal grammar and historical interpretation of the Bible, but was missing something, the last step, the fourth step, the complete distinctions about the message from Paul and Jesus. And I start to explain my friend dispensationalism, and he started to explain to me the distinctions. So I was so enthusiastic to share the message after this. And in 2016 and 2015, first time we met Paul. And 1 year after, he said to me, Wezel, do you consider dedicate full time in ministry? Because in 2015, he already knew about my skills in translating books. I was at his uncle's house in another city in São Paulo state, and I have the first contact with this kind of material. And I don't know, I have desire, I wish to translate, and the former translator in our mission, Paul's uncle, said to me, "Wow, this is a very good job," and I start to help him until the day he stopped asking me to help him. But that moment, Paul entered and appeared in our life, and 2015, and when it was 2016, he invited me to dedicate full time, and he said, "If you say yes, I can support you for my own supporting, my own donations for 2 years, and then if necessary for 6 additional months, and I'm sure you have your own support in the future when you share your testimony and your ministry to people in the United States." And it was a very bold decision, and I think he was right, because I'm here now. And I'm translating, and in 2018, 2 years after dedicating full-time ministry, I was invited and accepted to the World of Grace Mission. And in World of Grace Mission, we are 3 families, I and Deise, Paul and his wife Mariana, and his dad and mother, Bernardo and Carol. Paul and Bernardo, they are planting churches, and I'm translating books. And before to start this trip, 2025, we decided to consider the ministry of my wife, Deise, the ministry with crafts, teaching ladies, teaching women how to paint in fabric, acrylic on fabric, painting dish towels. We decided to consider part of our mission, a specific ministry, not only Daise's ministry, but Word of Grace ministry too. We are 4 kind of ministry: planting churches, translating books, and 3 ministries: translating books, planting churches, and arts and crafts. This is our mission. And to conclude this message, I would like to remember the title of this message Pastor put in the bulletin, the mission behind the scenes. Why behind the scenes? When I met Deise first time in Mission Aviation Fellowship, when the first idea was to be a bus pilot, Deise was already there, and I came to the mission. We started dating, and one year later we get married. This is so blessed moment. I could not be a bus pilot, but I met my wife since then. Yeah, I think much better than flying airplanes. And I could understand in the very beginning of when I have contacted missions, the expression in a theater we have stage and backstage, something behind the scenes. People understand very well mission in the perspective of the front line. When missionaries go to another country, another culture, specific in Brazil, in the middle of the forest, in the middle of the nothing. The big state Amazonas in Brazil is more than twice your state of Texas, and there are 2 or 3 roads in big state. We have only rivers to people go to the boat, or small airplanes to land in 1,000 feet runaway with big trees in the thresholds, 100 feet trees in both thresholds, and only 1,000 feet to landing. This is the challenge. So when people planting churches in fields like this, people understand, now this is real mission. But can imagine to happen something like this, well, we have to have well-prepared missionaries, and when and where start this? If you have a well-prepared missionary, the missionary have to study, study in a seminary, and study need books, and this is my part. In Brazil, we have a privilege to have a Berean Bible Institute in Portuguese. I think the only country in the world we have BBI in Portuguese. Another students in all part of the world study in English online with BBI in Wisconsin. But in Brazil, because you have books in Portuguese, it's possible to students study in Portuguese in their own country. I think this is very important, and for me, this is the work of backstage, behind the scenes. If I'm not going to another culture, I think is to be in the United States. I think in some degree is to be another culture, but not comparing to people going to in Brazil in the middle of the forest, preach the gospel to the Indian tribes. In Brazil, we have still at least 10 Indian tribes who have no contact with civilization. It's incredible, but there's a few tribes remaining in Brazil that have no contact with the civilization. This is a big challenge. But when I'm translating books, this is for preparing leaders. And the same way, when people fly airplanes to offer ways to transportation from missionaries to the forest, this is part of their whole mission. This is important too. And even the work of Deise in Mission Aviation Fellowship in Brazil is backstage part of mission, because she was a manager of the financial manager in mission. Something very important, to deal with airplanes is very difficult because it costs a lot, and people in Mission Aviation Fellowship has specific training to share testimony and to share about the mission, because some people don't understand why, if you have airplanes, why do you need donation? People who has airplanes are rich people. Yeah. So we have to prepare to explain explain the backstage mission, the importance of take care of everything, to offer people they are going to the front line all conditions to be successful. So one example of backstage mission is Mission Aviation Fellowship and related books and many other things. So I would encourage you to pay attention to this. Mission is not only people are going, but people stay, they participate. And not only people involved directly with mission can as even going or even staying, but people who participate praying and donating. This is another kind of participation. Is so important as the same importance of people here praying and donating, the same importance of people going to in the front line. So it's a privilege. For example, in all these years, I dedicate full time in this ministry. This is I learned about dependence on God in all these years, because sometimes we can budget to publicate books to send to the print shop. Other moments, no. Sometimes we can make some specific projects in our house. Sometimes no. There has to postpone it. But this is all these years in one moment or another we can do, we need to do. We can do, if you sometimes have to wait for more to have funds to publicate, we wait, and then we publicate. So, all of this is possible because people understand the importance of the backstage, even not connected directly to the mission, praying and donating. But pray is the most important, because when we pray, when we are with you, we have making a network of praying. My job is connect to you, and the job of God is put in the heart of people the wish to participate in donation. But this is not the question of how much money. It's not doesn't matter how much money. What's important, how many people. This is the important. How many people participating. The proposal is not overwhelm people in terms of financial. The proposal is people participating, praying with us, and God put in the heart of people the desire or participate even financially. So we like to say our mission is a faith-based mission. We have not a big structure. We have one secretary, and we have one vehicle in our mission, and we have no big structure. When people donate to us, it's not to pay a building, to pay many employees. No, it's directly to the missionaries. We don't have some help of people saying, go to that church, go to another church. No, we have to work in all the moment to make contacts. But our mission is very simple mission in this way, very simple structure, and it works. And thanks God, God provide us ways to go ahead and doing things like this. To finish, I would like to remember some verses, and I remember the word mission. Just to make it clear, the word mission, they have a Latin expression missio, and in Greek is apostella, something like to send, and the meaning is the power given to a sent one to perform a task, something like this. And what kind of task? There are three parts in the Bible. For example, Mark 6:7, when Jesus sent pairs, disciples in pairs, he was sending missionaries. And Matthew 28, 18 to 20, they are sent to a Great Commission, the so-called Great Commission. And then 2 Timothy, all the book 2 Timothy, we can see Apostle Paul preparing Timothy to go ahead. I remember in the Olympic Games, let me try to remember the modality is relay baton or relay stick. When it's correct, how you say this expression? Relay
race baton.
Relay, yeah. And I can imagine, I can see Apostle Paul as the first, and the second, and then until these days we are in this race. And I think it's very interesting because the last part of the Bible I would like to share with you is the verse. Pastor, read this, 2 Corinthians 5:17 to 21. This is about our commission. We are in the moment of the reconciliation from God. No vengeance of God, no anger of God in our moment. It was so well explained this morning, and we experience the grace of God, the opportunity, 2,000 years, the opportunity to reconciliate. And this is in great scale the mission, and in a certain way, all of us are missionaries. We are ambassadors, and why not missionaries in any way? Both that those who go to the front line, people who stay in behind of scenes, and people who stay in the church, praying and supporting missionaries. This is the big project from God to us in this moment, until the day we can no more here, and I expect to be a part of the generation we can even experience the death. I would like to be participate in the rapture moment. Some people will be the privilege to don't experience the death. Maybe maybe we cannot came back to Brazil. Maybe we cannot go out to the door of this church. But doesn't matter how long it will take. If I knew it to be tomorrow, today I will plant a tree. I think Martin Luther said this. If he knew about the day after he came to he will be with the Lord, the day before he's not stop to working. He will plant a tree, because to see a tree growing up it takes many years. And doesn't matter is the next day I could see the tree or not. Today, this is my job. I would like to serve God the best way I can serve today. Doesn't matter if the rapture is soon or not soon. This is my desires. I'm so grateful to everything God gave me and Deise, and my desire is serve to people the best way I can do. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for the patience to understand my English, my poor English. And if you have some questions, I'm available to respond. And we have books, not to sell, but just to show you. Sometimes people, how much? No, this is only for show my ministry and the result of people help us to go in this ministry. This is the result. I can have the privilege to dedicate full time, and this is the result. Books so people study in Brazil. And thank you for this opportunity. And if you have some questions, thank you.
Wezel, how many books have you translated?
More than 25 books and more than 10 authors.
Wow. Who are some of the authors?
Especially Baker's is important author this month, Charles Baker, and some books of Cornelius Stan. But this moment we finished a big project translating 5 books of Baker, and the last one it was the Dispensational Theology, a 700-page book, and I just finished translating before I came here. The book is almost ready to go to the print shop. So now people in seminary can study in such a good book like this, the Dispensational Theology. Yes.
Silly question, but do you find in translation, like I know from English to Spanish, you get more words? So does a 700-page book in one language turn into a 900-page book in another language, like in Portuguese?
Yes, and there are moments when I face something, I understand. This is I will spend all my day in this issue. Especially when Baker mentioned one word in Greek, and he want to explain very well the Greek word and the way the word is translated to English. And when he said 127 times this word appear in the Bible, 45 in this way, 32 in this way, and this moment I understand. I have to be patient because I have to check one by one of this word. I have to go to the Strong and check each word to see in Portuguese because the counting is different, and I like to be very accurate job. So if there are counting, I want to be a proper counting in Portuguese. How many times this word appear? Because sometimes 2 words in English is only the one word in English in Portuguese. Probably the English vocabulary is larger than Portuguese vocabulary. This is something historical. I don't know for sure, but probably the vocabulary in English is larger than Portuguese. And one example, the preposition to and for, they're no different in Brazil, in Portuguese. Can imagine how difficult it is to translate the important phrase Please help me in the phrase.
All the Bible is for us, but Paul's epistles are to us, about us.
Yes, and the Portuguese don't make sense. It's the same. Yeah, this important phrase. I decided to use to something like addressed
Yes.
to adaptate. This is my job. Sometimes people ask me, if you are not completely fluent, if your English is not so good, how you can translate? Because translating books is different, the skill is different. I spent all my life reading and listening, but never try to speak. And another thing is so important, not only understand English, but much more Portuguese, because when I translate, this is make natural for Portuguese readers. And the way English people, American people when they read in English is different. We use much more semicolons, for example, than periods.
So you're much more than Google Translate.
Google Translate is a tool, but not to translate properly. This is an instrument. I can take the text to start to edit in the electronic way. The first translation was I was writing. This is a crazy job. But when Google Translate give me the translations, I start the translation. Do you understand? Because I have to make edition in 90% of the text. It's not perfect, especially for example, present perfect tenses. It's difficult. It's not perfect when Google Translate give us the translation. I have to check every time the times of the verb. Yes, a big job.
It's a hard job.
Yeah, but I like to do this.
Portuguese for us.
Sorry?
Speak some Portuguese for us.
Yes. Então, traduzir livros é uma tarefa muito difícil, muito grande, mas eu me sinto como se fosse um relojoeiro, olhando os mínimos detalhes, e eu gosto de olhar os mínimos detalhes. I said to you, I love to make this job, and I feel myself as a watch this watch. The past people fix the watch, mechanical watch, with a lens in the elder people with a lens and fixing small pieces, details. I feel myself like this, paying attention to small details to make a perfect job. This is I explain to you in Portuguese. And Portuguese sounds like what for you? Something like Italian, something like music. How for you is the sound of Portuguese?
It sounds more staccato of Spanish. Do you know staccato?
Yes. Yeah, I understand. Spanish is, I think, the closer language to Portuguese. Brazilian people can understand, even cannot write or speak properly, but we can understand Spanish. And people who speak Spanish cannot understand very well Portuguese, but we can understand Spanish. Yes. But another romantic, they say Latin language, Italian, French, and this is another kind of Latin language. And do you know how many people in the world speak Portuguese?
How many?
About 300 million people.
Wow.
And 220 million in Brazil. Yes, and I think so. It have 9 countries who speak Portuguese. Only one is the completely different Portuguese because it's dialect. In the Asia, the name of the country East Timor, near actually in Indonesia. East Timor, they speak a dialect in Portuguese. And another 8 countries, Portugal, and another 7 countries speaking the same, the similar accent. And Brazil the accent is completely different of the accent in Portugal.
Oh.
And even some words you don't use in Brazil, they use in Portugal. But all the countries, the 8 countries who speaks the same language, but the accent is similar to Portugal. and Brazil is a very particular accent. No nation, our country, our areas like United States, people from north and the south, some different accents, but we can understand very well. In every part of Brazil, you can understand each other very well.
Cool.
Yes. Well, if you have some questions, I'm available. I will in front of the table and explain about the books. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.